Hi everyone, my name is Kate Sims and I'm the Government Affairs Manager for the Health and Wellness Policy Portfolio here at NRPA. I'm very excited to meet several of you, hopefully out on site visits this summer and next school year as you implement summer and after-school meals. Today I will primarily be talking about an overview of the child nutrition programs, as well as a little bit about the current political environment and what to expect in some upcoming advocacy opportunities. First, I do want to point out that there is a number on your screen for any technical difficulties that you may be having during today's presentations, but you can also dial 1-888-364-8804 for any questions. So let's dive in. So as Park and Recreation agencies, you have the opportunity to choose from a few of the child nutrition programs available through the U.S. Department of Agriculture. These are all federal programs administered at the state level through different state agencies. That might be an education state agency or Health and Human Services. It might depend on what state you live in, but I know our program staff would be more than happy to help you with your application and making sure that your sites are eligible. A few just notes on those programs though. So the Child and Adult Care Food Program, often referred to as CACFP. There's actually several different buckets within CACFP, but of particular relevance to your agencies will be what's called the After-School Meals Program. So this is a program that can be administered during the school year. After the school day ends for children, you can serve up to a meal and a snack. And I would also encourage you to think about weekend programs as well on Saturday and Sunday. Now there is an enrichment activity component, which of course you all are experts in offering the enrichment activity. So it's a great way to get kids to the programs by offering the meal, but then have that opportunity for tutoring, sports activities, and the like. And we really, even here in DC and on Capitol Hill, protect the after-school meal program by saying it's a great opportunity for kids to be supervised, to be safe, and to be accessing those enrichment activities in addition to the nutritious meal. The next program you may choose to run is called the Summer Food Service Program, SFSP. So the Summer Meals Program, as soon as the school year ends, you could begin SFSP operations. In terms of a best practice, it's very helpful if parents get the information about your summer meals program before the school year ends, and maybe avoid piling in those last end of year flyers in the backpacks, but making sure that they're aware that meals will be available over the summer months. Summer meal programs are especially important because we actually know that childhood hunger increases quite significantly over the summer months when those kids lose access to free school meals during the school year. And that's quite a strain on families' food budgets as well over the summer. So we highly encourage you to think about running a summer meals program. A little bit of information about that. It's a very similar eligibility to doing after-school meals, but you can also use area eligibility, similar to after-school meals, where 50% or more of the kids in your neighborhood where your site might be are eligible for free or reduced price meals, and you can get that data from the local school district. But with summer food as well, you can also use census data. So that might be another option if the area eligibility isn't quite working for where your site might be located. It can look like a maximum of 2 meals and a snack per day per kid. And again, I would encourage you to think about those weekend programs. Now what's interesting about the summer meals program is it doesn't necessarily require enrichment activities, but of course we all know we want kids to stay active and learning and have physical activities throughout the summer. So again, as you guys are experts in that part of it, of course that should be no problem. So the third program I'll talk about today, it's called the National School Lunch Program. That is the free school lunch program that school districts run throughout the country during the school day, but a small part of that program actually allows school food authorities to also offer a snack after school. So even if you're not directly the meal sponsor, the school district might be, you might be coming into the schools to offer the enrichment activities, and then the school would be responsible for serving the snack after school. There's also a part of that where school districts could decide to just, as part of their National School Lunch Program, continue operations in the summer, and that's called the seamless summer option. So again, the School Food Authority would be the sponsor, but as park and recreation agencies, coming in, offering those enrichment activities to help really build out those programs and get kids excited to be there. So just a few best practices for increasing participation. We know marketing and outreach is really important. A big barrier in communities is parents simply not knowing that these programs are available. So it's really important to think about your marketing strategy. I know the team here would be more than happy to help you with different flyer ideas and getting that information into the parents' hands, especially to think about before the school year ends for your summer meals program. But also just making sure they know what activities are available as well. It's not just about the meal. It's really that combination, and parents really appreciate that additional support on them that their kids are able to come to these programs. So I would definitely start thinking about marketing. Unique partnerships on a local level. We see a lot of great programs that partner with local churches, the libraries. Of course, pools are fantastic places for summer meals. So thinking about who else in your community is really looking to serve the kids and how you can partner with them. And of course, offering enrichment activities. We know that sometimes it's not enough to just get the kids there for the meal, and so having those activities kind of built out around the meal service is a great way to keep the kids and keep them coming back every day. And also something to think about, and I think you'll hear more about nutrition later in the day, is appealing and healthy food. Sometimes it's as simple as we've seen research that kids will eat a cut up apple as opposed to a whole apple, or thinking about how you're presenting the food and making it fun for them as you start to talk about nutrition, and making sure the teachers and the counselors are talking about nutrition as well, and what they're eating in front of the kids too sometimes really makes all the difference for the kids to be excited about the meals you're serving. So a little bit about our current political environment. DC has become a very interesting town in the past few months, and we're all kind of figuring out what it might mean for the future of our programs. Most immediate though, we really want to think about the funding for these programs. This administration and also this Congress is really looking to tighten the belt on funding for exactly some out-of-school time programs, for education programs. And so every opportunity you have to speak to a member of Congress or a local public official, you want to make sure you're showing them how effective these programs are and how critical it is to fund these programs, particularly on the federal level. The states and communities really need to draw down those federal funds to support these programs, so we want to make sure we protect that funding. It's a very scary time in terms of immigration policies that you may have seen in the news. I know families are already starting to get nervous about whether or not it's safe for their children to come to sites. Now, of course, we can't necessarily recommend one way or the other if a parent doesn't feel comfortable, but something to reiterate and think about when you talk to your families about your sites is what's wonderful, particularly about the summer meals program, for example, is kids don't have to check in, they don't have to sign up, they don't have to register. There's no paperwork associated with their participation. So it's something to keep in mind and reiterate to parents that they can come there, they can be safe, they should certainly come with their children if they're feeling unsafe. And that's something our team is more than happy to continue talking about as we kind of see what happens over the next few months. So specifically on advocacy opportunities, as I mentioned, protecting the funding is especially important now. I don't know how many of you may access something called 21st Century Learning Centers grant funding. It's an educational funding for out-of-school time programs, but the administration has already slated to cut it significantly. So we want to prove how effective that funding is at supporting these programs locally. And if any of you had followed the child nutrition reauthorization, the massive legislation that reauthorizes these programs over the past few years, that legislation is not happening in the near future, but that's actually okay. The programs will continue operating as they were intended. Any child eligible for the child nutrition programs will have access. So there's actually not a direct harm to the fact that the child nutrition reauthorization did not pass, but there was quite a bit of work on it in the past 2 years. Summer meals in particular was very popular for this child nutrition reauthorization, and there was one bill called a marker bill. It's an idea bill, really getting the ideas out there, getting members of Congress excited about certain ideas. And that piece of legislation, the Summer Meals Act, has been introduced in this Congress. But I want to be very clear with everyone, this does not necessarily mean that this bill will come to fruition, but we want to keep talking about it so that when Congress may consider reauthorization again in 2 or 3 years, that they'll be very excited about summer meal programs and improving them. But I do want to be realistic with everyone about the immediate opportunities for that legislation. But no one should be concerned that reauthorization did not happen. Again, the programs will continue to be available to you locally. So I'm happy to take some questions, and I've provided my email address, and I hope to hear from you all soon. Thank you so much. Have a great day.